Hello everybody and welcome to another amazing video of DIY investing. I am really excited to share with you guys this update because we're going to be going over every single one of our prior bear markets, analyzing what it's looked like before we've gotten our reversal, and how what we're seeing today is almost identical to all of the prior cycles that we've seen in years past. The big difference is with us still being below those prior all-time highs, we are looking at a lot more upside potential still left inside of this bull market. So for today's video, I'm going to break down exactly what the charts are sharing with us so that I know that you guys can be best positioned and prepared, because we're about to make a life-changing amount of wealth very soon, and it's in this next breakout that it's all going to be possible. If you find any value, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, and if you do want to see how I'm investing my portfolio long-term, links are in the description to go ahead and sign up on my website. Right off the bat, guys, I wanted to get into the charts. I wanted to go through every one of the cycles because this is such an important time in our market cycle where I see so much FUD. I see a lot of people that are on the fence. They don't really know what to think. A lot of people are actually bearish right now. And I just wanted to go through the charts. I wanted to share with you guys where we're at in the bigger picture so that we can be positioned and prepared to capitalize on any of the momentum ahead. So right off the bat, guys, we're going to be taking a look at every single one of our cycles. And this is going to be taking us all the way back to when we bottomed in 2015. This is the exact accumulation that we've gone through every one of our bear markets. And I've talked extensively about Wyckoff accumulations. For whatever reason, these markets tend to follow these perfectly. And we've continued to see this play out each one of our cycles. Now, if we come all the way back and look at 2015 all the way to 2018, this was that first cycle that we ever saw for the altcoins. The altcoins went through this exact same accumulation where we had this horizontal resistance and we made these three lower lows, right? And this is basically the bottom of our accumulation. Notice how we have a low, high, low, high, and then this is our final spring-loaded bounce before we get that breakout. That's your standard Wyckoff accumulation. And if you guys notice here, once we actually break out of that range high and we start consolidating on it as support right here, that's right before we got that big move into price discovery. And we can see even on our last cycle, we followed pretty much the same events where we had this horizontal resistance, we got the low, high, low, high, and then we got our third low, which is the spring-loaded bounce. This one would be a Wyckoff schematic number 1. This one would be a Wyckoff schematic number 2. Now with this cycle, once we broke out of that range high, being our horizontal resistance, and flipped it to support, that was that last moment before we got that move into price discovery. It's not much different than here. It's not much different than here. So when we're looking at where we're at today on the bigger picture, I see a lot of fear, guys. I see a lot of people freaking out. A lot of people are capitulating for some reason. This has been the most bullish cycle that we've ever seen. Never have we seen Bitcoin make a new all-time high this fast into a bull market. And because of that, it's caught a lot of people off guard. A lot of people that were expecting they would have an entire another 6 months to a year to accumulate now realize that they missed out, now realize that they have to chase the price. And so now that we're sitting kind of at this midpoint of the cycle, I just wanted to zoom out. I wanted to share with you guys how the prior cycles have looked, because historically speaking, where we're at right now, with us just breaking out of this exact same pattern with the low, high, third low is our spring-loaded bounce, and then that takes us into the breakout. All we're at right now is the exact same point that we've been at in the prior cycles, where we've just broken out of that horizontal resistance. This was like 600 days worth of an accumulation. This was also like 400 to 600 days worth of an accumulation. This was also the exact same amount of time. In fact, I think that this one was even longer than both. So what we see isn't any different than those prior cycles. Why are we getting so worried about this shorter time frame, about this short price action, when we're still way below those prior all-time highs? That first breakout out of the horizontal resistance, that's really like the last opportunity we have to buy the dip before we get price discovery. And we can see that that was the case here. We can see that that was the case here. And I'm not going to be the least bit surprised to see that that's the case right here once again. This next move is most likely going to be going into price discovery. The problem that I see with being bearish right here is just because when we're zooming out and looking at all of our charts, there's really more reason to be bullish. All of our prices are sitting on top of heavy supports. As far as breaking out and making higher highs and higher lows, there's nothing that's shifted inside of this cycle up to this point to make us believe that, this is the top. The only thing you could say is maybe if you were bearish on the Ethereum ETF and you're looking at that as being a buy the rumor, sell the news type of event, that's the big thing that I would say. But with us being so bullish to start this cycle, with us just breaking out of this accumulation, are we really trying to call tops right here, or are we better off just sticking to the trend that's playing in front of us? And to me, I think we're much better off holding to the trend, because the problem that people are going to have because they were already trying to guess and predict this cycle too much, most people didn't even accumulate down in here because they thought that we were going to go lower. Most people were unwilling to buy because they figured we had more time inside of this accumulation. However, once Bitcoin started breaking out, that was when people realized that this was a little bit different. And so I think that people, because we've seen such a big move and because we have these ETFs that have got approved, people are thinking that we're about to have a cool off period. But I just can't help but think that, big picture, what we're looking at here isn't much different than any of the beginning cycles when we first started to get into that parabolic move. So when we come over here and we're taking a look at every single one of these cycles, I think it's important that we're just factoring, how high we ended up going after these breakouts. Notice here that this was our first little breakout that we saw in the last cycle. This is where I put the majority of my buy positions in, was right here at 340 per ETH. And that was really the last dip that we got before that massive move into price discovery. And this is what happens every single one of these cycles. We get these big breakouts. It doesn't matter which cycle that we're looking at here. All of them have been roughly the same in similarity. Once we get that first big breakout, that's really that flipping point in our big picture trend. Now, obviously, where we're at today, we've seen a little bit of a bigger breakout, right? We didn't spend very much time accumulating right here, and then we got another leg up from that point. When I'm looking at this cycle, I think that we're a lot more bullish because we're still just sitting on top of support levels, right? We haven't broken down from anything. We haven't shown any real resistance. We haven't shown any weakness up to this point. All we've done is break out of our accumulation, which was down in here, flip that as support. We got another breakout higher, came all the way to the top of this lower high from our bear market, retested that. And now all that we're creating right down in here is just your standard A, B, and a C correction. Wave C took us right back down onto trending support. So when I'm looking at this, guys, we don't need to overcomplicate things. It's very straightforward. It's very simple. We're just obeying level to level. We know that once broken out of our accumulation, we knew that that was the reversal. We knew that we were going to be, seeing higher highs and higher lows up to that point, which is exactly what we've seen. Now, the real question is, well, is this done? Are we going to make a big correction all the way back down like this before we go up? It's a possibility, but I think it's highly unlikely. That's just my personal opinion. What we're watching for in these shorter time frames is really seeing what is going to happen right around these prior levels, right? Because this has been the main level that we've been holding, which I'm going to remove these other drawing tools so it's a little easier for you guys to see. This is the mid-range of the cycle. Notice how we've already broken from our resistance. We've broken from descending resistance right here. We're currently retesting that. So as long as this holds, we're pretty much breaking out of that downtrend. But then we're also flipping this prior resistance right here, this horizontal resistance at 1.08 trillion. We're also sitting on top of that. So we have two different converging points of interest that are telling us the same thing. Not only have we broken from horizontal resistance, now as new support, but we're also breaking from descending resistance, acting as new support. So, what is bearish about this? I mean, there's not really that much in my opinion. I think we're better off, once again, just sticking to that big picture trend. With us just breaking out of this accumulation, I mean, the accumulation is where we go sideways and do nothing. Once the markup is started, that's really where the upside potential comes into the market. When I zoom out and look at Bitcoin, we come out here on the monthly time frame. Bitcoin in and of itself, all we did was just kind of consolidate right back on top of these range highs. When we made this new all-time high at 74,500, we came back down on that monthly, retested all the way back down to the candle bodies of 65K, which was right here. And then, a lot of people got freaked out because we even saw a little bit of a wick below that. But the green candles came in here. And this to me just looks like a consolidation on top of those range highs as new support. I don't look at this on the monthly and think, oh man, that's really bearish. We have a day and a half until this closes. And, we're sitting up here basically in a price discovery well above the range highs. If we drop it down to a weekly time frame, this thing is already sitting clear in the heck up of these range highs. We're pretty much flipping back above those candle body resistance at like 65,500. We've reclaimed that level. The last level that we have to reclaim on Bitcoin that I've been updating you guys extensively with is this prior all-time high at $69,500. Once again, it's acted as resistance, as support, both a million different times throughout this entire consolidation. Most recently, we got a false attempt at a breakout and we closed back below, but the price is just consolidating right at this level. I don't think that we've got any sort of confirmation one way or another. If this thing just rejected and started falling lower, to me, you guys already know I'm targeting 64,000. We could see something like this before that breakout where we just kind of trend sideways. But the big thing is if we see this kind of get a buyback and flip back above the $69,000 level, that's the moment I think we go into price discovery. So with us being so close at this level, we're just going to be looking for confirmation. With the Ethereum ETF approval, we're looking at a lot more upside potential in these altcoins. We're seeing inflows coming into these ETFs every single day, billions and billions of dollars. With the Ethereum ETF approval, we've seen a lot of on-chain altcoins, ERC20 tokens, liquid staking, real-world assets, RWAs. Some of these other tokens built on Ethereum have been doing well with this ETF. And I think that this is the early signal that we're already starting to see some of that money rotate. We're looking at the money that's not really been moving. It's only been consolidating into Bitcoin, some meme coins for the most part. But as a whole, we haven't really seen on-chain altcoins do very well. It's been meme coins, and those have been, virtually the only thing really performing well for the altcoin market, besides a few outliers. I don't think that that's going to continue to play out. With the Ethereum ETF approval, we're looking at all of this billions and billions of dollars coming into Ethereum, driving up the price, but it's not actually going on-chain. These are TradeFi guys that are just paper trading Ethereum on the digital markets, right? They're not actually buying Ethereum on chain. They're not using the Ethereum chain and driving the gas fees up. So we actually see something really bullish. I think that it gives more attraction to some of these tokens built on Ethereum because the prices are going to be going up a lot in Ethereum, but a lot of that is going to be just driven because of the TradeFi guys. They're not actually driving up the gas fees. They're not congesting the network itself. And that's something that I think is really interesting going into this cycle. We've seen LDO, we've seen Arbitrum, Optimism, some of the other layer twos, real world assets, different things that are tokenizing real world items inside of the normal world and then tokenizing them to the blockchain. A lot of those have blown up. I think that the market cap of those rose substantially when Ethereum started breaking out. So all of the big signs for that reversal are taking place. Right now, the total market cap is just sitting right on top of support, sitting on top of that lower high. Multiple different reactions to break below this level only resulted in continuation. Drop it to a lower time frame. We're just still consolidating at these range highs. In the shorter time frames, I really think this can still go either way. Wouldn't be surprised to see another little correction like this. But regardless, guys, we're looking at all of these holding support. We're looking at every single one of these, a lot more bullish than anything else. And I just once again want to reiterate the point that you're much better off buying when we're sitting on top of support rather than calling tops. So when I'm looking at the markets, when we're coming out here and we're looking at all of our prior cycles, there really just isn't anything different in my opinion. We're really seeing a lot of those same parallels that have driven all of the prior bull markets, when we've broken out of bear market bottoms, when we've started the new move into price discovery. All of our cycles look the same. And so when this current cycle is looking identical to each of the last two, and we're sitting here arguably in a more impulsive cycle than ever before, institutional adoption like never before, retail is starting to pick things up. We're seeing banks every single day. We're watching all kinds of news where new institutions are getting on board, where new banks are adopting crypto, where new countries are starting to buy Bitcoin. We are at the public awareness of this cycle. It's no longer in the early stages. So by trying to call a top in this early portion where we're just getting started, I think that we're doing ourselves a disservice because, when the cycle starts breaking out, we just want to have our positions ready to go and hold. I think that by trying to call tops, what we're doing is we're so focused on the shorter time frames that we're, allowing it to cloud our long-term vision. The most profit you're going to make isn't from swing trading this entire way up. It's from doing your research, finding really good projects that actually solve a use case and buying those early. Because I can guarantee you guys, you're never going to know the top on the best performing altcoins. In the same way that I bought Terra Luna, I bought Solana, I bought Phantom, I bought many of the top performing altcoins in that last bull market. I didn't hold any of them the entire way. I sold most of my Phantom and Terra Luna at a 20 and a 40x. They ended up going up a whole nother 100 or 200x from that point. And I would have made tens of millions of dollars versus only realizing hundreds of thousands of dollars. So when we're talking about these shorter time frames, I don't think we should be trying to call tops. I think that we should be literally looking at what altcoins are going to do the most, buying into those, and then just holding them. Because I guarantee you, the people that do that will make way more money than the guy who thinks he's a genius trader that's going to swing trade his way into 100 mil. That doesn't happen. Those people get wrecked once the cycle tips. Most of those people just get wrecked trying to trade in the first place. So with us just breaking out, do yourself a favor, hold. If you want to buy more, buy more. If you're worried about a dip, keep some cash on the sidelines that you just make sure that you have. And then if we get the dip, buy it. But as a whole, with us just breaking out, I don't think that we should be too worried about heavy profit taking. Qualify for your long-term capital gains tax. People will argue that, it's only a 10% difference. You're paying 20% tax on long-term capital gains, and you're only adding 10% of that for short-term. You're going to make way more money buying and selling and trading the whole way up. But the facts of the matter is this: the person trading the whole way up isn't going to be buying those really good altcoins, isn't researching those really good altcoins that are going to do 100x, 200x, maybe even 1000x from here, because I guarantee you, you will outperform any trader if you buy any of those altcoins that do those big gains. It's not rocket science, guys. We can see that the bigger picture is unfolding right before our eyes, and I just can't help but, guys, this is my 8th year in crypto, going on 9. I've made a lot of money in these markets, and I can tell you firsthand, the most money I ever make is when I just buy and hold something. I'm willing to just suffer through any of the corrections, because anything below prior all-time highs is just noise. Anybody trying to sell below those prior all-time highs, in my opinion, is going to cost themselves a lot more profit, because the best thing that we can do the research, look at the fundamentally strong projects, get exposure to some that we feel the best about, and when these things do 100x or 200x gains, 10 times out of 10, you're going to outperform the guy that thought he was going to trade his way up into a Lambo. It's just what happens. I've seen it for myself. I've seen it for my friends. I've seen it for people that are just inside of my trading groups. And so when we're looking at this big picture playing out, this is some of the advice I can give you. I know I just kind of rambled, but I see a lot of people making mistakes. I don't want you guys to lose money. I see a lot of opportunity. Many altcoin markets are just looking phenomenal right now, sitting on long-term support levels. Couldn't really get better buying opportunities. So I wanted to break it down, explain what the cycles are sharing with us, so that you can stay best positioned and prepared to make profit over this cycle. If you guys did find value, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. If you guys want to see how I'm actually investing my portfolio long term, any altcoins I'm buying, selling, trading, and when I'm going to take profits this cycle, links in the description. Go ahead and sign up on my website. Thank you guys so much for the support. And with that being said, I will catch you guys in the next one. As always, peace out.